with somebody that you knew, somebody that you saw almost on a daily basis, and they lose their life in the line of duty.
Toronto police gathered to honor all the fallen officers killed in the line of duty, including Constable Jeffrey Northrup. Plus,
if we can help a little bit, save just, let's say, 10 seconds per person, and you can make their life a lot easier.
as we wait for the province's vaccine verification app to launch next month, many are already one step ahead using a QR code developed by volunteers. And
hoping I get in, because it's been, 19 months since we were able to go into the arena.
thousands of Leafs fans who snagged tickets to a preseason game are still unsure if they'll be able to attend due to COVID capacity limits. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Toronto police officers gathered tonight to kick off the annual National Peace Officers Memorial Run. For a second year in a row, the event looked a bit different due to the pandemic. Instead of a relay run to Ottawa, officers participated in a shorter run in the city that included a tribute to Constable Jeffrey Northrup. Dale Manukduk was there.
Now please join us in a moment of silence for our fallen.
Toronto police and families of the fallen honoring the officers who died in the line of duty from across the country, including Toronto's own Constable Jeffrey Northrup, killed in the garage of City Hall this July.
Somebody that you worked with, somebody that you knew, somebody that you saw almost on a daily basis, and they lose their life in the line of duty.
Starting at Queen's Park every year, the 460-kilometer relay run is a 3-day event that ends in Ottawa.
I want you to know that you will never be alone in this.
Erin Ochakovsky has been participating for a dozen years now. Her late husband James was a constable with Peel Regional Police. He was killed in the line of duty in March 2010. She says families of fallen officers share a special bond, especially mothers who had to break the news to their children.
My son was 3, and having to go home and tell my 3-year-old that his best friend, a superhero, wasn't coming home was probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do.
Constable Northrup's family was honored and participated in the run that made a stop at 52 Division where he worked before returning to the Toronto Police Memorial. Chief James Raymer knew Northrup going back 30 years.
He was the same individual from the very first day that he was when he retired. He cared so much about the job he did, he loved the work, and he cared so much about the people he worked with. I mean, we're going to miss him.
Yesterday, the man accused of killing Northrup was released on bail. It's unclear why he was released due to a publication ban.
I think I share the same concern that people have, that it would be nice if the public was made aware of all the circumstances. But the justice is also concerned about making sure that there's a fair and impartial trial.
A trial, the Toronto Police Service says, will hopefully bring justice for Northrup's family. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
The family of an 81-year-old man is grieving tonight after his body was found near Lower Baseline West and 6th Line in Milton this morning. Ignacio Viana was reported missing Saturday after not returning home from a bike ride on Friday. Our Natalie Kalata has the latest.
From hope.
As long as this helps get my uncle back home safe, that's all I care about.
To heartbreak.
We don't know if he suffered. Just him being alone and not knowing whether his family was looking for him and whether his family was, thinking of him. I can't imagine what he must have gone through and the pain.
Less than an hour after speaking to CBC about the search for her uncle, police arrived at the family home to deliver the tragic news. A body found on the side of the road in Milton with a bicycle was identified as that of the 81-year-old.
It's open right now. We're looking at absolutely everything. That's why we've got our collision reconstruction, our ident detectives, and we've got everybody that's out, and until we get that results from the coroner.
Viana went missing last Friday. He'd gone for a bike ride. His family became worried when he didn't return home. They called the police and made public appeals asking for help finding him.
We're really worried. He has been missing. He's been out there for the past 6 days.
Now found, the family can't help but wonder what went wrong.
He was so strong, so full of life, so healthy. It just doesn't make sense to me. If anybody knows anything, please, I don't know what happened. He wasn't that far from home. He's a skilled rider.
Police say there were no obvious signs of trauma. An investigation into the cause of death is underway. Natalie Collada, CBC News, Toronto.
The province says its proof of vaccine app and QR code are on track to be launched in a month. But not everyone is waiting. More than 500,000 people are already using a volunteer-developed QR code. Lorenda Redekop has more.
It's a website that's getting a whole lot of hits these days, going from 30,000 users to more than 500,000 in just a few days. It's run by some of the same people involved in the popular Vaccine Hunters effort. It helped many people book vaccination appointments. Well, you can store your vaccine receipt on your phone. The volunteers say this is a time saver, helping customers and businesses.
To bring up a Google Drive document versus a wallet pass, there's still a little bit more steps involved, maybe 3-4 clicks involved. Everything multiplies. I'm one of those people who has been through the big lineups at Jays games or Raptors. Imagine if you're waiting for a Raptors game and then you cannot get in. That's not good, right? So,
that's as the province says its QR code for customers is coming along. That's under the Ministry of Health. A separate app businesses will use to verify the codes is under the Digital Government Ministry.
I had 2 prototypes that I tested myself, and I'm really excited to say that we are on track on releasing the app on October 22nd.
He says businesses have given their opinions on how it's working and that it takes a while to ensure it's secure enough for private health information.
You just simply scan the QR code and it will provide you, the app will provide you with a check mark so that a person can enter the establishment, or an X that will show that you are either not fully vaccinated.
The software designers and university students working on the volunteer effort say they hope their version will be able to integrate with the province's system once it's released. Plus, they want to include a QR code for your driver's license.
So you have one thing. You go, green, go. I think that's really something that I felt is going to be important.
Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Colette Kennedy joins us now with a first look at the forecast. And Colette, glad to see it's a bit drier today after the soaker we got the last couple of days. Some areas getting what, like 100 millimeters?
Yes, Kelda, there were areas hit very hard. Some areas not only 100, but close to 150 millimeters of rain towards Petrolia, so back towards Sarnia, London. Really, Lambton, Middlesex counties were hit very hard. But also we saw Aurora with 120 millimeters of rain. Collingwood had over 100, and East as well. Over towards Trenton, about 120 millimeters of rainfall there. So that rain, the heavy stuff, was in eastern Ontario with that system earlier today. It's been moving out, but see the daytime highs, why they were milder there, because the front hadn't passed by. And then elsewhere behind that system, we saw some much cooler readings. Now, this is what's happening. We still have the back edge of this. That's why there's some shower activity out there right now that we're seeing. That's kind of the wraparound with this area of low pressure. And that's still got to move eastward and make its way through. So a few scattered showers overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. You'll get clearing earlier for southwestern Ontario. We should see some sun coming back, but cottage country, you'll carry on with some showers into the afternoon hours. This next system comes in for the weekend. We'll talk about that when I come back in just a little bit. Your low tonight, 12, and tomorrow, with any luck, 18 degrees. Kelda.
Thanks, Colette. Police releasing more details about a fatal shooting in Brampton yesterday in the area of Airport Road and Countryside Drive.
We do believe that this was a targeted incident. At this time, we're looking for 3 possible suspects who are related to a 2017 gray Hyundai Tucson. Was seen fleeing the area.
That vehicle was found abandoned and on fire about 7 kilometers away from the shooting scene at around 5 last night. Police have identified the victim as 26-year-old Garyod Katra. A woman was also shot and taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police are appealing for any witnesses or anyone with dash cam or surveillance video to contact them. Toronto police are hoping to raise awareness about what's called keyless ignition auto theft.
You know, most people go home, they put their keys beside their door or on the counter beside the door. Thieves today use key fob repeaters to extract that signal and then use a separate agnostic fob to get into your vehicle with a separate thief.
To prevent that from happening, they're hoping car owners will use a copper line protector pouch, which blocks that fob signal from escaping. They gave away a number of the pouches today. Police say this summer up to 200 vehicle thefts occurred in the 31 division. The majority of the stolen vehicles had a keyless ignition system. Professional sports teams in Toronto are hoping to get permission from the province to increase crowd sizes for games. The Blue Jays have already started selling extra tickets for their final homestand of the regular season, while the Leafs have started selling thousands of tickets to their preseason games. Now, the problem is neither team can say for certain all of those fans will be able to attend. Greg Ross explains.
So right here it says capacity 20,587.
When Leafs fan Josh Egan recently went online to purchase preseason tickets for the Leafs this Saturday, he was surprised to see how many tickets he had to choose from.
When I went to buy the tickets, it showed the whole building available, and like anybody probably does, I clicked on the closest ones to the glass and saw the price of those and went, okay, I'll get some cheaper ones at the back.
When he purchased his tickets, he didn't realize that the current guidelines only allow for 1,000 fans to attend an indoor facility at one time. Even though there are reports the Leafs are hoping that number is increased by the province, he's still worried he may not be able to go.
I'll get the refund. That's not the big deal. It's the excitement that I had for the game.
The Blue Jays released a statement today saying, "We are making additional tickets available for our final 6 home games. In the event the government regulations do not allow for us to expand Rogers Centre capacity beyond 15,000 fans, impacted ticket purchasers will be directly notified of their ticket cancellation and issued a refund."
The important question here is, in any large public gathering, how can you do it safely? And
Dr. Fahad Razak is an epidemiologist who is part of Ontario's COVID-19 Science Advisory Table. He has some concerns with increasing crowd sizes at sporting events.
I realize that the restrictions would require people to be vaccinated in order to enter the stadium. But the challenge is that spread can still occur. And if you have a lot of spread, you have the potential for those cases to then ripple out to people who are not vaccinated, like kids or adults who are not vaccinated.
He says the risk is far greater with indoor gatherings, which is why he would not recommend increasing the crowds much more than the 1,000 that is already permitted by the province. Egan has his fingers crossed he'll be one of the lucky ones.
I'm hoping I get in because it's been, 19 months since we were able to go into the arena.
A health ministry spokesperson told CBC the province's chief medical officer will update his recommended changes once they are finalized and approved by cabinet. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Pascal Siakam is back in Toronto. He was at the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital today, where he made a $100,000 donation to help children and youth with disabilities.
And I think just like sometimes taking a step back and being able to just like see that, there's a lot more in the world than basketball. And I think for me, like, it gives me a great level of joy to just come in here. These kids, like we all know what they go through, and to just see them, continue to interact, like be happy, smile, and no matter what, like I think for me that's like the greatest joy that you could ever give me.
Siakam also held a 1-hour meet and greet for 32 children at the hospital. He says he has missed Toronto after a season spent with the Raptors in Tampa, Florida. The Raptors will open their preseason against the Philadelphia 76ers on October 4th, their first game at Scotiabank Arena in more than 19 months. A new human rights photography exhibit has opened at Daniels Spectrum in Regent Park. Called First, Look First, the exhibit features the work of Toronto photographer and activist Gilad Cohen in his first solo show. Each photo exploring the story of an individual living in the city, each one with their own human rights challenge. I met up with Cohen at the exhibit this week to learn more.
So First Look First is a photography exhibition featuring 18 large-scale cityscape pictures of Toronto. Within each photo is a different person from the GTA who's experienced a unique human rights challenge. There's people who have been wrongfully incarcerated, folks who survived the horrors of the residential school, refugees from North Korea. They're sort of buried within each photo, sort of on purpose, to encourage us to look beyond the landmarks of the city, to look beyond the sort of postcard imagery that you see for the humanity that exists all around us.
Each photograph is accompanied by a short story about the person in it.
In this photograph is Hyuk. He's a North Korean refugee who escaped from North Korea back in 2010. What I've tried to do here as best as I could is sort of recreate the experience that someone may have had when they were undergoing some human rights challenges. This individual told me that when he escaped from North Korea, what got to him was the shiny lights across the border in China. They sort of lured him in. And so I took him to the place in Toronto that had the most light, the most lit, Yonge and Dundas Square. There's another photograph of a woman who's a residential school survivor. She's on Queen Street West. I wanted to put her in front of a building that to me sort of looked very colonial. So I put her in front of a courthouse. And in the image, you can see her walking away from the courthouse, almost to say that she's walking away from the residential school system and walking away from that past that's behind her and moving forward. What I'm hoping is that these images, these iconic images of Toronto, lure the viewer in and encourage folks to learn more about the individuals who are in the photo and learn more about some of the injustices that exist here in the city. That, for example, Black people are 20 times more likely to die in a fatal experience with the police than non-Black people. The fact that there are over 50 boil water advisories across First Nations across this entire country, that on any given night, more than 10,000 Torontonians experience homelessness. I want people to get connected to these stories.
There is also a multimedia component. Through an app on your phone, each photo can come to life.
The intention there is to bring life to these images and also bring life to the stories that you're seeing unfold in front of you.
How did you go about finding the subjects?
I've had the privilege over the last 10 years through my full-time job at JAYU, which is a human rights and arts charity that I founded, to connect with some of our world's most remarkable people who've also experienced incredible injustice. So I felt a responsibility to these people that I had met, but also a responsibility to my community to shed a light on some of the injustices that these folks have faced.
And it all started with this photograph of a young man dear to Cohen's heart, the piece entitled, "I Will Be Your Friend in the Daylight Again."
It's a photo of a streetcar in the sunset on Queen Street West. I took it of a person in Toronto named George who was struggling with homelessness. I actually got to mentor George over the last 6 years through some youth programming that I'm doing. And so I wanted George to be the first. Unfortunately, George actually passed away earlier this year from substance abuse, and he's no longer here to see this exhibition. But when I look at this photo, I'm reminded of George, and I'm reminded of the beginning of this project. And so this exhibition is dedicated to George. It started with him, and it ends here with him as well.
And you can check out the exhibition First Look First at Daniels Spectrum in Regent Park until October 18th. Well, partly cloudy this evening with a few light showers. Currently, it's 14 degrees in downtown Toronto.
Let's go back to Colette now with a look at your extended forecast. And Colette, still a bit of wet weather going into tomorrow, but things definitely calmer.
Yeah, really improving. And the precipitation we're seeing, this is lighter stuff. So this is more some isolated to scattered showers on the backside of this system. Still the same one that brought the heavy rains as it's finally working its way out of here. So a few scattered showers tonight, lingering into tomorrow morning. Now, a few areas are still going to have some showers, like into Cottage Country, around Georgian Bay. Slight chance tomorrow afternoon into the GTA, but I think we'll be done with those mostly in the early morning. Now, the next system does come in on Saturday, so rain's coming in again. I'll kind of help you look at the timing on this, depending where you're located, so that you can make some weekend plans if you do want to be outdoors on a Saturday. And then our temperatures very close to seasonal. I mean, we're talking about the next few days, a degree or so below, and then we're going to have a few days where there'll be a degree or so above. Essentially, we can call it seasonal temperatures. So here's a look at that very broad system. See that counterclockwise swirl around that area of low pressure and some of that cloud deck. Now, by tomorrow morning, watch how it erodes and you get into the sunshine earlier for southwestern Ontario. It's going to take some time, and we will see some of those showers through the afternoon, even around Georgian Bay, like I've been talking about, but we are less likely to see it closer to the north shore here of Lake Ontario. We do have just a few isolated showers later. Then we get into clearing Friday into early Saturday eastward. Different story. Here's your timing, 7 a.m., the rain coming through. So in the morning, your wettest hours, back towards Windsor, London, Sarnia, through these regions, Chatham, Kent. But it's in the afternoon. This is right at the lunch hour. This is starting to come through the GTA. So it's the afternoon on Saturday, at least the timing right now, how it looks. That'll be wetter from there eastward into eastern Ontario. Temperatures tonight, cool ones as we get through these showers that we're seeing and things clear out overnight. 9 degrees, beautiful though, once we get into that sunshine, that's going to feel good. 21 Windsor tomorrow afternoon. And tonight you're reading still some breezy conditions that we're looking at for the province. And then tomorrow afternoon, those 17 to 18 St. Catharines. Okay, you're going to do a little better at that high of 20 degrees. There you go. Saturday, mostly in the afternoon for Toronto. Sunday, mix of sun and cloud to a little extra cloud cover. Slight chances both Sunday and Monday for some isolated showers in there, Kelda.
All right, thanks so much, Colette. A posh Tokyo hotel has launched a special buffet to celebrate a beloved food, and you may be surprised what it is. Gourmet dishes, craft cocktails. Is your mouth watering yet? Here's the twist. They're all made from cup noodles. Seriously. Everything from the seafood gratin to the drinks to the dessert was created using a component of instant ramen. Either the flavor packets, the freeze-dried veggies, or the noodles themselves. It makes you wonder what kind of culinary magic these chefs could create with craft dinner. And before we go, something to make you smile. A group of penguins at a Japanese aquarium have a cool new clubhouse. The birds often take walks to a field near their enclosure for exercise. Volunteers built this hut there where they can play. Now, the penguins seemed pretty excited to check it out, except for one little troublemaker. He kept backtracking, so a zookeeper had to carry him out to join his friends. And that is our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night, everyone.